Janice, local regulation is strictly connected with the cultural environment, tradition, sometimes religious issue. What can you tell us about the United States situation at local level in cities, counties, about the regulation of local services and infrastructures?
I think there are some shared issues there. I think that communities in the U.S. have very similar concerns about essential services, especially water, because it is so connected to people's everyday lives, but also to the economic development of their region, to their locality. So water services are very important. And at a practical level, water services are related to other services that communities provide, wastewater services, fire protection services. So I think in the U.S. there's some similar issues. Our water systems vary tremendously in terms of size, so sometimes that local community could be quite small. It could even be managed cooperatively, but then it can also be a very large community and involve even multiple communities within a region. So I think these issues are very much on the agenda and things that people are talking about these days.
Regulation and politics, in particular at local level, is a tricky question in Europe and Italy too. Turin School is going deeply into the question if our local network of relationship a threat to a good local regulation, to transparency, to openness, to inclusiveness of the services in the United States.
Yeah. Unfortunately, politics can have a negative connotation, but I think we also know that politics are essential for translating our values into public policy. So I think there's always going to be that tension, especially over regulatory issues, because regulation is almost always about balancing. It's about balancing the interests of the providers of the services to the customers of those services. And even more broadly, there's the issue of the public interest and what's in the interest of the public over the long term. So the job of the regulator is to translate politics and manage those politics, and it can be a very, very challenging situation. But I think you're right to raise the issue of transparency and accountability, because I think the public trust will grow if they feel if they have a certain level of faith in the process and that it's a fair process. So I think that's another thing that we share, is the interest in transparency and accountability and ultimately fairness. These issues are not easy for anyone in the world right now. So I think what we have to do is just aspire to good methods, good approaches, an honest approach to these questions, and recognize that I don't think you can ever take the politics completely out of it, and I don't think you should, because again, that's so related to how we value services and how we're able to manage through the tough challenges of providing these services to a broad spectrum of people.
Thank you very much, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.